We've finally got our goalkeeper and a man that at the start of the last episode we hadn't even targeted as joined the club. But since then, we've also had a massive clear out to trim the squad, get rid of a lot of fringe players who were sort of stuck on the wage bill from last season. And now, after a very positive start, we return for one of the toughest games of the season. Last year, we took a bit of a pummeling away at Arsenal. This season, we're going to try and get it right on camera. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 9 of this FM09 Let's Retro save from Fulham with me, Daniel. We are back today as we continue our start to Season 2 after a positive first 6 games of the season. Only difficult games were the one that we saw last episode and probably the last game where it all went a little bit wrong. We've also gone out the cup, but today we have got Arsenal and I am desperate to try and go on an outside push for Europe this year. If we could do so, would enable us to improve the squad massively next summer and really push this progress forward so we're not stuck in a gradual rut for 4, 5 or 6 years. But if we are, we're going to stick with it relentlessly either way. If you're looking forward to this one, as we have got a slightly friendlier run of fixtures coming up after the Arsenal match, then please do put a thumbs up on it. What worries me though is after these 6 and after the next 4, we'll have still only played 2 of the big boys, which means that while our start to the season looks fantastic, it looks rosy, we're up in 5th place, we're ahead of the likes of Liverpool and Spurs at the minute. I think, what games have we got coming up? It's all going to go wrong towards Christmas, isn't it? And that's where the fixtures come thick and fast after all the international breaks too. But firstly, before we go and focus on the football, on the table, and on this big game against Arsenal, we've got to have probably half an episode looking at the transfer centre, because we have done a lot of business at the end of the window. A lot of deadwood, a lot of fringe players off the wage bill, and a couple of big signings, particularly a new goalkeeper into the club. So let's go and have a look at the history. 3 additions late in the window, 6 departures from the club, all permanently. Let's start with those before we move on to the new men. First of all, Aaron Hughes has gone on to Sunderland, was replaced, of course, by Diakate earlier in the summer. We moved him on for £2.4 million, 29 years of age, had 1 year left on his contract. It just made sense. He was getting physically overpowered at times last year. He's a very good defender and he was always criminally underrated in FM, but this is FM and we've got to get results. So Aaron Hughes, not powerful enough for this universe. We've moved him on to Sunderland. We also moved on his deputy, which was Chris Baird, the fellow Northern Irishman. I always resented the fact that he was the 5th or 6th highest earner in the squad, despite being a bench warmer. He's gone to Hull, who got relegated last year for 1.6 million. He's managed to accept a little bit less of a wage there. Again, a decent fee for someone who wasn't playing a huge amount. And while Hughes and Baird in the modern FMs would be great players because they've got super positioning, they're solid on the ball, etc., they've just not got the power. And in this game, that is everything. The strength, the set piece quality, dealing with crosses into the box. It was a different time. And these 2 in this game just don't quite have it. So they move on for a combined £4 million. As does Dixon Atuhu, who goes to Sheffield United for 1.8 million quid. He's been replaced in the summer by the fact we've bought in Morgan Schneiderlin for basically the same price. We've also had the core leave his loan, but we've bought in other midfield players. And Andranik coming back from loan has given us depth too, as well as Andreasen. So Dixon Atuhu moving on was always part of the plan. He's a championship level player. He's playing for Sheffield United now, who I think are in the Premier League here. Yep, they got promoted again. He's very much a squad player for them. But 1.8 million, great deal for our football club. Then we move on to the saga of the summer, a man who rejected the chance to return to West Brom, Zoltan Gera. £2.5 million to Birmingham, the first of 3 successive transfers to go to the Blues. 30 years of age, had 1 year left on his deal, and again was among the top earners at the football club. He's moved on. He had an okay season last year, but he was never going to be the long-term future, and another player who was a little bit underrated in his football manager game. So Zoltan Gera moves on to Birmingham, as does Sol Ki-hyun, a much forgotten man, was out on loan last year. Didn't really feature at the start of this season, and attribute-wise, probably not good enough in truth. So he moves on for £1 million, another one off the wage bill that wouldn't have featured much. I was tempted to keep him as an emergency because he was versatile, but let's be honest, when you're getting £1 million for 30-year-olds with 1 year left who are just sitting and warming the bench for money, it makes sense to let them go. So Sol Ki-hyun has moved on. And the third and final man to Birmingham City, who actually played against us when we featured against them a couple of weeks ago, was John Pantsil. £3 million after a work permit was accepted. A solid fullback, but was overtaken by Frederick Storr. Didn't have the best first season on the pitch. Performed pretty averagely. Didn't deliver much in terms of consistency. And of course, in the middle of this year, would be going off to AFCON. So with a combination of all of those things, added to the fact that Frederick Storr's doing well, Elliot Omazusi's back from loan and is improving quickly as well, I thought it best to move him on. And for £3 million, it's a good fee for a player who was never going to be a top Premier League player. Didn't have the positioning, didn't have the anticipation. And as a result, it made sense. So John Pantsil, the sixth and final player to leave the club towards the end of the window. So what have we got there? £4 million for the first two. And we've got 6.5 for the last three. Add another two on. We're talking about 12.5 million quid there for 6 players. And that has funded the 3 transfers that we've done since, which come to just under 13 million quid. So first of all, we needed to get a quick fix in defence. We've got 2 brilliant starters in Hangeland and in Diakate, but we needed a solid backup. And Andy Webster on loan for 180 grand is that man. A small wage, smaller than Hughes or Baird. Probably a better player or better suited to this FM. 6'3", very good mentally. Great in the air, good tackling. Played in a cup game already for us. He's a solid pro. I think he's a really good player to have in. So a good deal for us. Andy Webster joins on loan. He is our backup centre-half. We'll also talk about the other defensive player we've brought in, which is Billy Jones. He gives us a deputy option at centre-half, at right-back, in midfield and at left-back. He's solid. He's got room for improvement in him, which is important. But more importantly, he's just a versatile squad player, a bit like a Baird or a Hughes, but with a younger age, with not much of a transfer fee, and with a tiny wage as well, which is more important. We've basically done him as a straight swap for Baird in terms of squad position, but he can play 3 more positions naturally, and he's also on 15 grand less a week, so why would you not do the deal? The big one though, and the one we've been waiting all summer for, is Johan Pella. Ali Al-Habsi will now be our backup keeper as intended, because Pella comes in from Le Mans for 10.75 million. He is an excellent goalkeeper. A huge upgrade, coming towards his peak at just 26 years of age, has only conceded 2 in his first 3 matches. He's commanding, he's great in the air at 6'5", got a big jumping reach, great reflexes, good handling, positioning's good, decision making's good. He's got the lot. I'm really, really pleased with him. Only popped up as a player who we were able to get or was interested in joining us with a week or so of the window to go. Was a scout report, I think, from Frank McPartland, so I'm going to have to give him some credit. But a wonderful deal, a great goalkeeper to bring in. Johan Pella is, and I think probably for the rest of this save, may well be our number 1. So that means we've got a much smaller squad than we had in the last episode, a much healthier size of squad, but actually a very good one now as well. There are some concerns with unhappiness, the likes of Enrique, Hangeland, Albin. We rejected offers for all of them. If we don't get into Europe at some point, I think that is going to change the future and whether or not we can keep these people long term. But for most of them, in Albin's case, got another 3 years on his deal. Same for Hangeland, same for Enrique. We've at least got 2 seasons we can get by here. Otherwise, there are a few players on the fringes of the squad. We have had injuries which have stopped us maybe being as free-flowing and as settled as we like. Josie Altidore never really got started before picking up a knock. Andy Johnson is just returning from injury now. So it has been Bobby Zamora and a surprise for Eddie Johnson, who's even featured a few times after not being able to get a deal away. The only other one that I really wanted to move on that we weren't able to is Simon Davis, because again, he got injured towards the end of the window. But let's be honest, we're in a much better position than we were. Some of the players that have come in have started really well. So Pella's had a solid start. Diakate, I mean, look at the goals. They're all defenders. Hangeland and Diakate from set pieces have basically been our main goal threat. We've got Pennant out on the right-hand side having a really good start. Schneiderlin's done well when he's featured, a two but the same. So we're looking good. If we can get those strikers fit and scoring, it could be a very different story for us this season. If we go and have a look at the fixtures since you were last with me, I should say as well, we've still got 5 million left in a transfer kitty after all of that. If we go and have a look at the fixtures since you were last with me, a lot of low scoring games, a lot of tight games, but for the most part, we've come out on the right side of them. So you were with me as we gave City a good game in a 2-1 defeat. Breda Hangeland got the goal there. Against Pompey, a 2-all draw. We were 2 down at half-time. Breda Hangeland back with a brace in the second half. I mean, what can you say? He's done a magnificent job for us there. In the next game, we played in the League Cup against Walsall. We rotated heavily as young John Fleck got himself a brace off the left and Danny Murphy added a goal through central midfield as well. Home to Reading in the Premier League, that rotation paid off as Breda Hangeland yet again delivered a brace of killer blows from set pieces. Against Bolton, just the one this time as Skelbred finally got a goal that wasn't from a defender in a league match, followed by a 2-1 win against Birmingham where Papi Diakate took the burden off his fellow centre-half and John Fleck managed to get another goal as well, with Joan Albin out due to injury. We did lose to Everton in the League Cup as we rotated a bit, but let's be honest, it's not our priority this season. We've got to try and get nearer to those European positions in the league, and maybe later, if we're doing well, we can have a go at the FA Cup too. But against Aston Villa at the weekend, it paid off again. Papi Diakate this time with a brace. We are basically a set-piece team. We are playing to be solid and to nick goals from wide positions, from situations where we're getting crosses into the box. And if we can add a threat of Altidore up there as well, I think that could make us very strong for the next few weeks ahead. What I do worry about though, and I mentioned it at the start of the episode, is all the big games. Because after that run of 3, following the Arsenal game we're showing today, we've then got Newcastle, United, then Blackburn, but Chelsea and Liverpool and Spurs all in the space of 7 games. 5 of last season's top 8 or 9. That's where we're going to start to find out how good this team is. Today, I'm not expecting a result, but I want to show you the toughest test. We obviously played pretty well and competed against City. Whether or not we can do that today is a very different question. Let's go and get through to the pre-match preview. Fulham in decent form. Arsenal much more of an attacking threat. Won 4-0 against Trabzonspor in midweek. Were able to play very comfortably for the most part, but hopefully that gives them some tired legs and maybe we'll have a little advantage. But this is going to be a really tough ask. Our best 11 is the one that is playing at the minute, with the exception of Josie Altidore being fit. So he will come back in for Bobby Zamora. Zamora will replace Eddie Johnson on the bench. You can see Andy Johnson nowhere near fit yet, and that injury has stopped him from being sold in the summer too. John Fleck is back to fitness, and I'd like to get him on the bench in place of Danny Murphy. Has been the only attacking player that's really delivered goals this season so far. They might be pushing for a start before too long. In place of who? We'll wait and see. But this is the 11 we're going for today. It is Johan Pella, the new man in goal. Storr and Enrique, the fullbacks, with Hangeland and Diakate, the main set-piece goal threats alongside. Andreasen sitting at the base of the midfield with Musa Sissoko and Pierre Skelbred ahead of them. And then it's Pennant and Albin out wide. Both been creative forces so far behind Josie Altidore, who really needs his first goal to get going. He's a good young player, but injuries have curtailed his start of the club so far. Let's see if that changes today as we go through to the big game away at Arsenal. This is one of the toughest tests we've had so far. Well, this is not a bad looking Arsenal team, is it? They've done a little bit of rotating and they're still incredibly strong. It's a star-studded side. There are a couple of slight weaknesses in there. Maybe the pace of Senderos is somewhere we can take advantage. Sylvester fairly experienced alongside him too. But in the middle, their control of possession with Rosicky, with Fabregas, Moutinho, going to be hard to stop. Adebayor is scoring goals for fun. This could be a very tough day. Let's see how we get on. We're going to tell the boys they can win, not that we believe it ourselves. And hopefully, they won't need to turn to the bench where they've got the likes of Eduardo, Walcott, Bentner, Van Persie, Denilson and Gallas all sitting waiting. We don't want to have to deal with any of them. Into the first half, let's see how long we can keep them out. Well, here we go. Early doors. It's a Quaresma corner for Arsenal. Senderos is up, and while he's not got pace, he's certainly got aerial ability. It does mean we've got another corner to deal with after a very good save from Pella. And Quaresma puts it in again. I would be upset if Fabregas scored a header as Enrique brings it away towards Joan Albin. Now, where's the threat on the break? It's up to Altidore. He can go down the right-hand side. Clichy gets back at him. Little bit of a lack of match sharpness there. Diakate does well with the ball forward. And Jermaine Pennant, against his boyhood club, has done a little bit of work there. With 5 minutes gone, Arsenal have the first chance. And they're still on top right here as Fabregas finds Rosicky. Good challenge from Sissoko. Big punt downfield. Sylvester v Altidore. Unfortunately, the defender wins it as Rosicky cutting in from that left-hand side. Great ball to Fabregas. We know he can pick out a pass and it's a good ball across right in that corridor, but no one attacked it. Heitinger ended up getting beyond the winger. Quaresma had made a gamble there. He would have had a tap in. 10 minutes gone though. It's a free kick to Arsenal. Enrique might be about to get the first yellow of the game. Chris Mason lets him get away with it. With 15 gone, we're surviving at 0-0. It has just calmed down slightly as Frederick Storr has a throw on the right to Andreasen. Can we create our first chance of the match? As here comes Storr. Big ball in early. It's not a good one. It's straight at Fabianski, and that's where Altidor's going to struggle if the service is that poor. Clichy breaking down the left-hand side. Finds Rosicky. Storr chases him, but Fabregas has time in possession, as he always seems to. Diakate away as far as Pennant, who brings it down ahead of Clichy and finds Altidor with a really good pass. Tries to take on Clichy, but he's just so isolated in a game like this. At home to those sides in the bottom half, we can get the wingers up. Those Skelbred's won it back. Albin takes on the fullback. Good chance to cross. Juan Albin from the byline. Doesn't get enough on it. It's well recovered from the Arsenal defence, and it's a corner kick. But this is arguably not a bad thing, because you could argue we're more likely to score from here than open play. Andreasen's up. It's not of the right men, that one. And Clichy able to flick on. Quaresma can start the counter, but Skelbred gets in well. Finds Josie Altidor. Where's the support for him? Oh, it's a great ball. Skelbred, good save. And the second one deflects off Senderos. Fabianski clears. Tell you what, I didn't expect Altidor to be the intricate provider. That's exactly what he did there. Brilliant play. And Skelbred has the best chance of the match so far. Well, a little bit of trouble as Hangeland has had a bit of treatment recently, but we're almost at the half an hour mark, and João Moutinho has resorted to shooting from distance. That's a good sign for us. We've had the best chance of the match, albeit Arsenal have had more. And we're on the attack again here with Frederick Storr, who throws into Pennant. Tries to take on Clichy. He's got support. Could have just played the pass there. Instead gives it away, and now Fabregas can break to Carlos Vela. And I'll be really upset if we concede from here. As Rosicky's beaten the fullback, he's got space to run into. Looks for Adebayor, edge of the box, finds Quaresma. Brilliant pass, good shot. And that is the difference between the teams. A ruthless streak and great passing at the other end. And for us, what have we done? We've given the ball away. We had a simple pass on. We tried to take the complicated option. And that has ended up costing us. Half an hour gone, Arsenal lead. And frustrating because we've had the best chance of this match. We find ourselves 1-0 down. Again, like the City game, more competitive, but still not enough as Skelbred licks it off Moutinho. Altidor loses out to Clichy, which is a worry. He just doesn't look fit. Quaresma gets it down the right-hand side. Chance to cross. Good challenge Diakate, but it falls for Rosicky. Storr's trying to keep him close. Adebayor gets in. He's too strong for the defence. It's a really good save from Pella, though. He's out for a corner kick. Hangeland struggling physically. And the attacking three not really getting any service here. As Adebayor in. Sissoko half away, but it's back to Adebayor again. Finds Quaresma, the goal scorer, out wide. Diakate blocks. There's another corner kick. We're having to hang on a bit now. We need half time. We need to stay in this. And then we can reset. But we knew this was going to be the challenge today. As Vela's in. Good header. Sissoko blocks it away, I think. It's away as far as Diakate, who can now break to Altidor. Where's the support for him? Because he's all on his own. Altidor's got an option wide. Will he find him? Yes, he does. Really good play to get it out to Pennant. Fair play that time. Pennant beats Clichy. Gets towards the byline. Can he find the cross now? This is what we're waiting for. Again, straight off Clichy. And this time it's out for a throw. We don't even get the beloved corner. As Andreasen with the throw-in. What is that? What are you doing, you donut? Why are you taking it to start with? That's not part of the script. And what have you done with it? Nearly half time. The few chances we have had, we've really not taken advantage of the positions. As Adebayor gets down the right, 1 minute added on. Don't concede a second here. Sissoko flies in, it's terrible. And Diakate's given away a penalty. Carlos Vela tripped, and now Moutinho has the chance to make it 2. Steps up, saved by Johan Pella. What a goalkeeper he is. Quaresma's second ball is blocked. And it's a corner kick for Arsenal. Could that be a turning point in this game? Hangeland looks done at the back. I might have to bring on Andy Webster. I don't know how Vela's beating Storr in the air, but at half-time, it is 1-0 to Arsenal. They've deserved it overall. If that Skelbred chance had gone in, it could have been a very different game. Gonna say we can win this, lads. I might even say there's no pressure. Let's just try and get them to relax. There's nothing to lose. I'm going to take Hangeland off because there are 3 winnable games coming up. And I don't want to lose him for them. So Andy Webster will get a run out. We'll probably look at Albin later on. Altidor's not going to do 90 on his first game back. So we're going to get to see a bit of Bobby Zamora. We'll probably get to see a bit of John Fleck as well. But can we find a way to sneak something out of this? We just need to stay in it and then get a set piece. As Enrique has a throw on the left to Andreasen. Terrible pass given away to Adebayor. Webster forces him back, but only as far as Moutinho. Heitinger to the right-hand side. Down the line to Quaresma. Beats Enrique. Chance to cross. Good block from the left back. And he gets it down the line. Altidor will chase, but Senderos read it better. He looks a mile off the pace as Altidor. His physical attributes should have him dominating as Rosicky puts it over. He should be dominating a Senderos. He should be getting past him, but just doesn't look fit. Maybe it's match sharpness, maybe it's lack of cohesion. But either way, it's not helping us out. As Sissoko does well to win the ball back for Pennant. You can see how deep we are in this game as Albin finds Andreasen. Ball down the middle, finds Skelbred, and he's in one-on-one. Can he find the composure? Pierre Skelbred. Oh, great save. He's had 2 big chances in this match. For all of the Arsenal dominance, we should have scored 2. Both one-on-ones missed. Fabianski to the rescue. Albin's had a terrible game, and his corner again is off target as Pennant. Chance to shoot. Forced a little wide. Can he get the cross in at least? Clichy closes in, but he finds the cross to Skelbred. Away as far as Andreasen. Shot from the edge of the box, straight at Fabianski. We are in this match, but we don't really look like scoring because we keep wasting big chances. I'm going to gamble on the subs now. Albin's had a rare stinker. Fleck has scored 3 goals this season. And Bobby Zamora, I think at the moment, looks far sharper than Altidor. So those 2 are on. And that is my throw of the dice for this game. Can we find a way? Yeah, Jose Enrique would have been a candidate to come off, but I can't change defenders in this situation. We're creating chances. I need the right men there to take advantage. As to be fair, Altidor does win one there. Will be his final contribution. Skelbred finds Albin, who's going to deliver heroics before the substitutions. Albin back to Enrique. Inside to Andreasen. A bit more control. Sissoko shoots. Good save of Fabianski again. We're really coming into this. We're having a right go at them. It's going to be a corner kick. John Fleck is on, and I think we'll take it. Now, can he find the target? Webster's up. Loses out. Not quite the same threat as Hangeland. And Vela now has a chance to break at what is a pretty brittle defensive line. Enrique does so well, though. Finds Heitinger. Quaresma gets it to Moutinho. Still a chance of a threat from Arsenal. Out to the right to Quaresma. Beats his man down the line. Gets to the byline. Chance to cross. Deflects in. Diakate does well. And Clichy will get it in again. Andreasen clears. Zamora can chase. Beats Senderos in the air. But can't keep it in. Good signs though from Fulham the last 10 or 15 minutes. And it's still 1-0. A quarter of the game to go. Can we find that goal on the break? As Silvestre has a free kick for Arsenal on halfway. Big ball forward, which Webster does well with. John Fleck, his former Rangers teammate, not able to bring it down. And Heitinger will go all the way back to Fabianski. Arsenal start again. We've had clear-cut chances in this game, haven't we? We can't say we've not been in it. As Webster heads away again, Sissoko can break. We're in behind the defensive line. Zamora's got Pennant wide. Doesn't find him quick enough. Sissoko does though. Pennant cuts in. Zamora is with him. So is Sissoko. Pennant trying to go alone though. Looks for the shot on the edge of the box. And it's wild. We're creating chances. We really are getting there at the minute. But not happening for us. We've had as many shots on target. We've had the clear-cut chances. We've not got the goal to show for it. As Pella does well. Store half clears. Rosicky will get there though under pressure from Pennant. And Fabregas goes wide to Clichy. Second goal now would ruin the game as Quaresma on the right scored the first. In towards Fabregas. Diakate does well. And Moutinho fouls Fleck who got back to help out. 15 minutes and I just feel there might be a chance for us. Will we get one to fall to the right player? Can we get one set piece with a good delivery? We've only had 3 corners in this game, but we've not done it. We've not delivered them well. Eduardo's on for Walcott. The substitute got injured. It's now Van Persie and him up through the middle. As Quaresma, in fact, Adebayor still on as well. Quaresma delivers the cross. Clichy on the left side of the box. Over the bar. I'm not going to gamble on going too much more attacking because actually the counter is where we're getting our chances. And now we're going down to 10. Andreasen gets injured at the end. Of course he does. We've got one more chance though. Fleck to Sissoko. 3 minutes added on. We're into them. Enrique to the byline. Can he find the cross? He does. Skelbred beaten by Senderos. Sissoko brings it down though. And with 10 men, we're the aggressors at the minute. Wide to John Fleck on the left-hand side. Takes on Heitinger, beats him. Into the box, Moutinho's there. Fleck still got the ball. Heitinger eventually gets it out for a throw. He's really having a good start to the season, is John Fleck. Jose Enrique with the throw on the left-hand side. Can we find one more chance? Skelbred out to him again. Here's John Fleck, who I think was offside. That's poor. And I think that will be it. Just 1 minute of stoppage time to go. We're down to 10 and Arsenal have got possession. Though Fleck has just nicked it off Heitinger, who gets a very lucky bounce of the ball to get away with that. Quaresma down the right-hand side. Chance to cross. To the byline. Will deliver with gamble men forward. Jose Enrique does really well to block him off. But I think it's too little too late. There's only 20 seconds. Pella will clear downfield. Doesn't seem to be in that much of a rush either. Zamora is up. Silvestre beats him. Van Persie brings it down. And I think Fabregas on the ball will probably spell the end for us as Van Persie goes in. Didn't deserve to be 2. And the whistle stops it from being so. It's a 1-0 win for Arsenal. Just about edged the game. We had some big chances there. We competed well. And we're not getting battered by these top sides, which is a big improvement from last year. Against both City and Arsenal, you've seen us been strong. We've done pretty well against the other sides. While we're now going to be without Andreasen for a few weeks, we've got Schneiderlin, that improved depth that can step in. So we're looking a little bit stronger than we were at this time last year. However, we've got a tough run of fixtures coming up after these 3, and I'll come back to show you a couple of them. I don't know which yet. I'll probably aim for Liverpool and Spurs because that's a double header of tough matches. If you did enjoy this one, a narrow defeat against Arsenal, but a decent display it must be said. And please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of our second season so far. Are we improving? What can I do about that front line where, unlike the Hamilton save I had where everyone was scoring up front for us, just can't quite get it right with Josie Altidore. So I'll wait and see if we can do something to rectify his form. But for now, if you want to stay up to date with this one every weekday, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. It's promising to be a pretty exciting season 2. And maybe we'll have something to play for at the end of the season. Fingers crossed we can stay in the race for Europe as we're still 6th in the Premier League after a positive start. I hope to see you next time as we look to push on as we've got a tough run of games against the Premier League's big boys where we'll really get tested with our new look squads.